And next, do you really think a watch such as a Garmin, just because you spent $1,200, can accurately track how many calories you actually burn during an activity? Coach Greg, in today's video, I'm going to be answering the question, should you buy a fitness tracking watch? So to answer this question, what I did was I bought a Felix 7 Garmin watch, 1,200 Canadian dollars, or about $40 US. I'm joking, it's probably closer to 1,000. But that is a lot of money to invest on a fitness tracking app. But if it works, if it motivates you to do cardio, to live a healthier life, then of course it's 100% worth it. But if it doesn't work, if it's useless, well, I'm going to tell you. And so in the video, I'm going to be going over, are these things accurate? Do they actually tell you what you're doing? Did I have any problems? And I'm going to give you my overall on experience of the Garmin watch. And hopefully this will allow you to come to your own decision of whether you'll buy this watch, any watch whatsoever. And first things first, I'm not sponsored by Garmin. This is my honest reaction to what I experienced. And so the first thing you need to know is I'm horrible with technology. And if I didn't have somebody who knew how to use this to explain everything to me, there's no way I could have figured it out on my own. Way above my head. I know I'm a manly, I'm only 5'6" hobbit, but this was very difficult to understand. But if you are in fact great at technology and you love numbers, you might have a great experience with this watch. And so there's so many things this watch can tell you. From your heart rate, stress level, the steps you've taken, the floors you've walked, calories burned, how you're sleeping, your respiration, and many, many more. But let's first look at sleep. What can it tell me about my sleep? And so I was very excited, as I do in fact suffer from narcolepsy, and so sleep, that's something I really wanted to learn more about. Am I getting a quality night of sleep? Would this watch help me to sleep better? And so what I noticed was I was getting a very good sleep score. It literally tracks exactly how many minutes you're sleeping. And so for example, on one evening, it said I slept 8 hours, 27 minutes, that I had 51 minutes of deep sleep, 6 hours, 25 minutes of light sleep, an hour and 11 of REM sleep, and I was awake for 7 minutes. I got a great sleep score, close to 90. Basically, a good job, nice job sleeping. The problem is, the first 2.5 hours, I was watching YouTube videos, sitting there, unable to sleep. And you know what it said? You were in a deep sleep. Now, I know some of those videos were boring, but I certainly wasn't sleeping. And so how can it say I slept 8 hours and 27 minutes when 2.5 hours of those I was watching YouTube videos? And I'm not making this shit up. Allie was literally laying next to me. Why is that light on? You're bothering, you're keeping me awake. Like, babe, I'm sorry, I can't sleep, insomnia, all this stuff. I wake up in the morning, and to my surprise, I had a great night of sleep. 8.5 hours. Wow, fantastic. Good job, Garmin. You didn't know I was asleep. And so what is this device actually doing? It's basing it on your movement. And so while I was watching videos, I'm laying down like this. I'm not moving. And so the watch thinks, wow, great job. That's such a deep sleep. And so good thing it didn't track one of those nights when I'm sleeping, dreaming about sexy time, because there would have been a lot of movement. You know what I'm talking about. And so does it actually track how well you're sleeping? What do you think? This watch tracks your brain waves? It's tracking your pulse, your movement. That's the best it can do. And so, no, I don't believe that this watch can actually tell me whether I'm having a great night of sleep, an average night of sleep, or poor quality sleep. And so another night it said I got up 5 times. Yeah, I can count. I went to the bathroom. How does it know that? Well, when you get up and go for a walk, it tracks your steps. Not only that, when you're walking, moving around, your pulse increases, obviously. And so do I really need a watch to tell me how much I'm sleeping? And what quality of sleep I'm getting? Of course not. All I need to do is try to go to sleep on time, try to avoid blue light. I literally wore the glasses to block out the blue light, as Andrew Huberman suggested. And so in my opinion, wearing a watch to track your sleep, for me at least, that was a waste of time. Next up, heart rate. I was very excited to know what my resting heart rate was. What is it during the night? How is my heart rate during the day when I'm at the gym lifting weights, when I'm biking, and so on? And so while wearing this watch, it's tracking what your heart rate is at every given moment on every given day. I'm talking about every given moment. And so during the night, on my best night, says my resting heart rate was 47. Another night, 51. And so depending if you're sick, well, stressed out, getting a quality night of sleep, detrained, overtrained, it can give you quality information about your night of sleep. But here lies the problem. this is not accurate, at least for me, in terms of what is my heart rate at any given moment. If it was, I wouldn't have had so much heart rate variability. And so on one evening, I decided to have sexy time, or at least I was allowed to. And it said that my heart rate increased to 146. You know what I was doing, and I can tell you firsthand, it was not that much effort. I was not in zone 3. I was not pushing myself. And so I believe that was a dramatic overestimation of what my actual heart rate really was. And so at the end of the day, it says, wow, heart rate variability, 90. Your heart rate was all over the place during your night of sleep. But you have to predetermine what time you're going to bed. I said, I'm going to bed at 11:30. And so what happens if you go to bed at 12 or at 1 or 2 a.m.? And so I simply don't think it's realistic for me to think that I'm going to go to sleep at exactly the same time every single day. And no, I'm not going to fidget through my watch, press so many different buttons, and every time I do a different activity, I'm going to press start. Oh, ready? Time to sleep. Ready? Go. Asleep. It doesn't work like that. And so I found it excessively annoying. Oh, I'm waking up. Let's press the button. I'm going to bed. Press the button. About to go for a bike ride. I'm warming up at the gym. Press. Now it's weightlifting. Press. Now I'm dancing. Press. Too much pressing. And so after a tremendous amount of work, I'm finally pairing Garmin Connect with my watch to my bike. All kinds of stuff. All connected. The world's connected. Yay! And so I do a bike race. I went harder than last time. My average heart rate was over 160 beats a minute. And oftentimes it was in the 170s and 180s. I'm like, can't wait to see how many calories I burn on my Garmin watch. I look at my race. It said my heart rate was in the 80s and 90s the entire time. I'm like, what are you talking about? 80s and 90s? That would be a very slow warm-up. 80s and 90s. And so the watch did not track my true actual heart rate. I know this because I was wearing a heart rate monitor and it was on my Garmin on my bike. And so I was very disappointed that it was unable to track my intensity, how many calories it burned, and so on. I thought, no, I'll give it another chance. And so I went for another ride outside this time. I said, I'm just going to do zone 2. Kept my heart rate around 130. And I got back, heart rate watch says 80s and 90s yet again. And so to me, this watch for tracking my heart rate, 100% useless. Now remember, I can assure you I was going harder than last time on the bike, but not in the bedroom. And so how is my heart rate 146 in the bedroom and 90s on the bike? Makes no sense. I know I was excited in the bedroom, but really, 146 versus 90? I don't think so. And next, do you really think a watch such as a Garmin, just because you spent $1,200, can accurately track how many calories you actually burn during an activity? And you're thinking, well, my watch does because mine accurately tracks my heart rate. And so let me give you an example. Say you're about 150 pounds, you walk a mile in 20 minutes, your heart rate's about 130 the whole time. You probably burn off about 100 calories during that walk. But what if you train and get in shape, or for example, your friend borrows your watch and also weighs 150 pounds, and you walk 1.5 miles in 20 minutes with the same heart rate, 130? Do you really think that you burnt the same number of calories because you had the same heart rate? Of course not. One person walks 1 mile, the other 1.5 miles. And so if you burn 100 calories walking 1 mile, you're burning 150 calories walking 1.5 miles. It's 50% further in the same period of time, you're burning more calories. And so the calories burned, it's not actually based on your heart rate, it's on the work that your body produced. And so if I have an identical twin and we both go for a run and I run 10 miles in an hour and he runs 5 miles in an hour, but because I'm fit, we both do it in the same heart rate, then I'm still burning double the calories. I'm going twice as far. Not to mention, heart rate is influenced by the temperature of the environment you're in. If it's really hot, your heart rate's going to be higher. If you take caffeine or other stimulants, heart rate also going to be higher. And the longer you perform an exercise, there's something known as cardiac drift. Your heart rate on average is going to go about 10 beats higher for the same activity, the same effort. Another huge factor is dehydration. And so imagine this scenario. You're Larry Wheels several years ago trying to make weight for powerlifting, and you've lost 14 pounds, as if that's possible, in a sauna. You're severely dehydrated. Your pulse is 150 and you're just laying there, not moving. Do you really think you're burning as many calories laying there, not moving with a pulse of 150 as if you're running 10 miles an hour with the same pulse at 150? Of course not. You're burning way more calories going for a run than you are laying down, despite the fact that you have the exact same heart rate. And so how can this tell me how many calories I'm actually burning in the real world? Next, how can you determine calories burned based on steps? I'm a 5'6" hobbit manlet, and I take very small steps. What if you're 6'10", you take very large steps? Or what if my steps are tiny? I'm doing baby steps. I'm taking very tiny steps on purpose. I bet with my friend, I can do more steps than you. And so my steps are super tiny. I'm cheating. We both weigh and walk the same distance. I take 5,000 steps and he takes 2,500. Do you really think I burnt twice as many calories because I took twice as many steps? And so research shows more steps up to 12,000 shows increase in life expectancy and so on. But no two steps are alike. Imagine the difference between a step walking and a step running. Which do you think is harder? You're walking, your legs are going back and forth. Running, you're going up and down. You're putting in way more effort. Your heart rate, much higher. And so imagine this. Your friend does 12,000 baby steps, but you, instead of that, you do 8,000 giant running steps. Who do you think is healthier? Who do you think is going to live longer? Of course, you're betting on the person who's doing the running. Clearly in better shape. And there's more to exercise than how long you spend at a certain heart rate. You're thinking, oh, it's your average heart rate. Consider this. Two people get back from a workout. They both have a heart rate of 150. One person jogs at a heart rate of 150 the entire time. The other person runs harder than last time, all out, as hard as they can for 5 minutes, and then walks for 5 minutes, and then runs as hard as they can for 5 minutes, walks for 5 minutes. The heart rate during the runs, 180. And during the walks, 120. They both have the same average heart rate, 150. Did they get an equivalent workout? Of course not. The person who ran hard, harder than last time, they're going to improve much greater. Their VO2 max, the training stress score, how much effort they actually put in, they're going to require much longer to recover than the person who did steady state cardio for 20 minutes. When you do intervals, it's much harder. Why do you think I say to people, zone 2, moderately intense cardio? Because if you sprint, go super intense, it's much harder to recover. And so if you're trying to build muscle, do cardio at the same time, and you go too hard during cardio, it's much harder to recover. But if you do zone 2, you don't get sore, it's a lot easier. And so for the most part, for most people, much more realistic to do zone 2 cardio, get in shape, and be consistent year after year. If you start doing sprints and intervals, more likely to get injured, hurt, and takes a lot longer to recover. Oh, but wearing a watch gonna motivate me. I'm gonna want to take so many more steps. I love technology, and having that watch, I'm going to go and exercise harder than I ever did before. So I'm wearing the watch, which is inaccurate. It's not tracking my heart rate, but what's accurately tracking it is I put on the strap on my chest, and that heart rate is picked up on my Garmin 1040. And after my bike race, which is about an hour, which I went, all right, it was pretty hard. It says I need 3 days recovery. And so the next day when I get up, it says, yeah, probably need to take the day off. You need to rest. And so I'm thinking, if I were to listen to my watch, I would be bike riding at max 2, maybe 3 days a week. And so what would I do? By wearing this watch, I would do less. It would motivate me to do far less. And so how much cardio do I do in a week? About 5 hours. Not 10, not 20 like I used to do, 5 hours. And so to me, that's not very hard. And half of that is done at zone 2. Not that hard. But based on this is saying, Coach Greg, way too much. You can't handle this. You need to slow down. You need to recover. Stop pushing yourself. And so if I were to wear this watch and listen to it, I would be motivated to do less, to take it easy, to relax, to not train so hard. And you know what would happen in that case? I would detrain. I would become slower, less fit. My VO2 max would go down. And so perhaps it would motivate you. But for me, I think I could do more. I'm only doing 5 hours of biking a week. For the most part, if you want to be a good bike rider, you need to do 10 or more hours. 5 for most people, it's not even average. It's very easy for most trained cyclists to ride 5 hours a week or more. But how fit am I as a person? Well, this watch is going to tell me. My actual age, biologically, how old am I? I'm 47 and a half. But what about my fitness age? And so I was very excited to find out. Well, I'm really fit. I bet I'm going to be 37. My fitness age, maybe I'm 30. And so what was my fitness age? 47 and a half. Same as my age. And what did it say was the number one reason for this? The number one cause? My BMI said I was obese. 189 pounds, 5'6" manlet? What is wrong with you? And so the watch said I should go on a diet to get my BMI down to 21.4. I wrote in, found out what that is, 133 pounds. And so I need to lose 56 pounds in order to be healthy. After all, I want my fitness age to go down. And so in getting this watch, perhaps I'm going to develop body dysmorphia. I'm fat. I'm a cyclist. A BMI of 25 to 30, that is overweight. Over 30, that is obese. And remember, BMI charts are the same for men and women. And I get it. It's 2023. Everyone's a circle. You can identify as whatever you want. But don't you think that on average, men weigh more than women? They have more testosterone, more muscle. And so why is it that they have to weigh the same? And remember, that's what they suggested. My BMI at 18.5, I'd be about 119 pounds. And so perhaps you get the watch and it says, hey, you got 50 pounds to lose. Do you really? Do I really look obese, and should I lose 56 pounds? Now, mind you, it also said my fitness age is 47.5 because it says I don't do enough intense cardio. Well, I wonder why. I'm racing bikes and it says my heart rate's in the 90s. But when I'm having sexy time, it's 146. Good job, Coach Greg. You're going harder than last time there. But you know, when you go for bike rides, maybe put in a little effort. A little slow there, Coach Greg. And so if it actually tracked the cardio I was doing, perhaps it would know my fitness age far lower than 47.5. And instead of using BMI, perhaps it could use a different measure. My body fat percentage? I have mostly muscle. I have single-digit body fat. If anything, it should say, Coach Greg, you know what? You could eat a little more. You're kind of lean, single-digit body fat. That's not healthy. What do you think, Coach Greg? The lower the number, the better? Don't you know 15% body fat is perfectly healthy? And yeah, I get it. You work out, you lift weights. You probably care about the aesthetics. And so why doesn't my Garmin encourage me to have 10 to 15% body fat? Why does it want me to drop to 133? And so other numbers, for example, my stress level 6 out of 100, I guess that's really low, but how does it know I'm stressed? I'm making videos, screaming, shouting. Does it think I'm stressed out? How would it know? How does it know if I'm actually stressed or not? Based on my heart rate. My body battery. How does it know if I have a lot of energy or not a lot of energy at all? Does it know I took GO2 Max with the main ingredient NMN, which leads to greater recovery? Does it know that I have way more energy because of GO2 Max? And so how does it know that my body battery is low or high? And remember, I have narcolepsy. Sometimes I get excessively tired because of the narcolepsy. Does it know that? All it knows is what is my heart rate. And so if I take a pre-workout like pre-workout 2.0, something with caffeine, a stim, my heart rate's going to go up. And so it might be thinking, oh, you're stressed out, or perhaps you don't have a lot of energy. Your heart rate's on the rise. But it's quite the opposite. You take pre-workout, clearly gives you a lot of energy. You go to the gym, you can train harder than last time. But does it know this? Of course not. How could you expect a watch to know better than you? How do you think that this piece of technology is better than your own friggin' brain? This ain't no Chad GP3. You can't ask it anything. And even if you could, do you think Chad GP3 knows more about your body than yourself? Respiration 14. Wonderful. What does that even mean? Is it good? Should I be 13? Should I be 15? Should I start breathing quicker, slower? And so we're all different. And so does knowing these numbers in some way better your life? Do I now feel better because my respiration is 14 and yours is 15 or 16? I don't think so. Oh, and FYI, while recording this video, I've taken over 1,200 steps. Just thought you should know. I looked at the start, and since I started recording the video, 1,200 steps. I haven't stepped. I'm sitting down in a chair. Is it measuring this? Am I waving my hands, burning so many calories, walking around? That was 2 steps. And so I just did 13 steps, moving around in my chair. And so it's not even counting the steps as I go. It's giving me feedback every 10 seconds or so. There are another 2 steps I did. And many of you are wondering, how many calories am I burning? I'm sweating in this heated recording studio, soundproof and all. And so heart rate 98 right now. So perhaps if you want to know those kind of numbers, if you're excited by what is your heart rate while recording videos, watching a movie, laying down during sexy time, well, then perhaps you'll benefit from this watch. But for me, for $1,200, which for most people, that is a lot. I know it's Canadian money, so it's probably a lot less in the United States. But to me, that is a lot of money to pay for something that is not even accurate. Now, if it was accurate and consistently gave what my heart rate really is in the real world, if it was easier to navigate, it wasn't so much technology, if I didn't have to press the button every time I did a different activity. Oh, I'm rock climbing now, press the button. Oh, I'm going to swim, press the button. Oh, I'm going to bed, press the button. If I didn't have to do all that, well, to me, it would be worth it. But as it stands right now, not happy. I don't like it. I think it's a waste of time. It tells you how many calories you burn in a day, but it's not accurate. And it's not tracking how many calories I'm eating. And so what's the point? Let's say I see the number 4,900. Yay! What does that tell me? It tells me nothing. What if I eat 3,500 a day? It says I burned 4,900 and I'm gaining weight. Well, I'm eating too much. And so just because the Garmin says you burned 4,900 doesn't mean you get to eat 4,900. It's a guess. Just did 66 more steps since that last readout. And I burned off 68 calories while recording this video. And so there you have it. If you want to buy Garmin, if you want to buy a fit tracking watch and you think it'll motivate you to do more, then by all means go and buy it. But if you don't want to have to press buttons all the time and rely on your watch to tell you how to run your life, and you don't have $1,200, then don't buy it. Hope you learned something. And remember, if you want to get any of the harder than last time supplements, including GO2 Max, you can get that by clicking the link in the description using code Greg for 10% off. The cookbooks, training books, coaching plans by me and my team, the Circle Diet book, also the Harder Than Last Time clothing line. Get all that on my website, code Greg, 10% off. Subscribe, click that bell button. Like the video if you liked it. Add a comment. Do you in fact like watches that track stuff other than time? What watch should I get? Watch one of those 2 bloops, at least one. Please watch one bloop. Also, watch a drama video if you like it, and watch an educational video if you like it. I got close to 3,000 videos. I got whatever you want to watch. It's there somewhere. Research Harder Than Last Time. Follow me on the gram, Greg Doucette, IB Pro, and until next time, I am out. I did 63 more steps since that last update. I'm out.